And we're back. Fantastic 4 o'clock show. Yeah. So, to segue from the Hunger Games winning the MTV Movie Awards, it's a great segue to step into the most recent movie updates. And all this is provided by RottenTomato.com. So, some new openings coming this week include Transcendence featuring Johnny Depp, which is the movie where like scientist is saying about all the computers are going to be more intelligent than every single living being on Earth, and then somebody shoots him, and then he's dying, and then his wife uploads him into this machine, and it's Transcendence, hence the movie title. And then there's this whole following of people who try and destroy it because they don't realize the severity of it. So I mean, it kind of looks like it's going to turn into a scary movie, like not like a good movie, you know what I mean? Like there are movies that are like drama. There's the word drama, and then there's like the scary movies. This one looks kind of like a scary movie. A Haunted House 2, Bears, and Fading Gigolo, which are coming out this Friday, April 18th, and Heaven is for Real coming out on April 16th. The only review for these upcoming movies are Fading Gigolo, which got a 64 on Rotten Tomato. Another movie coming out this Friday is a movie called Gabrielle, which got an astonishing 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie is about the musically gifted but developmentally challenged Gabrielle lives in a group home with 4 other adults who have similar disabilities. Like all young women, Gabrielle wants her independence, but of course her situation is exceptional. When she falls in love with a similarly challenged young man in her choir, she discovers that both the families and the social workers are alarmed. Can these two handle the adult relationship? Then Gabrielle's beloved and supportive sister confesses that she is going to move to India, and Gabrielle's world is truly in danger of falling apart. With stubborn courage and the real zest for life, Gabrielle prevails against all odds and wins her freedom. That's crazy to think about, that a movie could... Well, it's also before it gets released, so it's 100 before it gets released, but who knows, maybe it'll drop down, maybe it'll stay the same, I hope. I mean, that seems like a really nice movie. It's rated R, by the way. It seems like a nice movie to see. I'm sure it'll get nominated for an Oscar or something. I would be surprised if it didn't. Some films that just came out, including Captain America: The Winter Soldier, that is at the top of the grossing chart. That's the first one, and it grossed over 41.1 million. Right behind that is Rio 2 with 39 million, Oculus 12 million, Draft Day 9.8 million, Divergent 7.5 million, Noah 7.4 million, God's Not Dead, that's a terrible movie title, 5.5 million, The Grand Budapest Hotel 4 million, Muppets Most Wanted 2.2 million, and Mr. Peabody and Sherman with 1.8 million. I don't know if you guys know this, but the guy from Modern Family, the dad, he plays Phil. He's in both movies. He's in Muppets Most Wanted and Mr. Peabody and Sherman. That's a pretty good achievement. I mean, to have 2 movies coming out in the same time period, he's probably making bank. But I can't wait to see Captain America. I'm really excited. I want to see it so bad. I heard it was really good, and it also got really good reviews on Rotten Tomato. So let's look at the MVPs and the losers of this roundup. And it's a huge gap. So the biggest winner is the Grand Budapest Hotel, getting a 92% on Rotten Tomato, but not far behind is Captain America with 89%, which is great. I mean, everybody always expects movies to be good. That's why they give them so much high ratings, and then they're really disappointed because they work it up. So I'm glad that Grand Budapest Hotel got a good rating, and Captain America did too. The biggest loser is the movie God's Not Dead with 17%, following Divergent, surprisingly, with 40%. That's really surprising to me because, like, it seems like Divergent is going to be like another Twilight, you know what I mean? The whole premise behind Divergent is, like, it's really like sci-fi, kind of, not like more horror like Twilight was. Divergent is about this girl. There are like 4 different worlds, apparently, and she was born on one, and when you get older, you can choose to go to another world or stay in yours, and she goes to another world and she meets some guy, and that world is at war with another world, and the world they're in a war with, and then this other world is in a war with her old world. So it's just really strange. I mean, I guess the plot is kind of flawed, but I think that's a very strange movie. But like I said, like it's like a love story. It's a love book. It was a book, and like everybody loved it. All the girls loved it, and now it's not doing so well, which is pretty strange. I guess the movie wasn't as good as the book was. Anyway, we're gonna move into sports. I know everyone loves sports. Okay, so we're going to start off with the NBA draft, and I'm not too much into basketball that much. I mean, I like to watch, like, the tournament games, but I'm not so, like, keeping up with it, like, oh my god, Duke, or like, oh my god, the Knicks. Like, it's not like that at all. I just like to follow famous future players. Okay, so many outstanding college basketball players have decided to forego their next season and enter the NBA draft. Some of the top prospects are from the best high-ranking college teams. Many are also freshmen. This is what the 2014 mock draft looks like. And granted, these teams obviously haven't entered, they haven't done the NBA draft yet, so these are just some predictions. So, with the top overall pick will be Milwaukee, and it looks like they will try and draft Joel Embiid, who played for Kansas this season. Following that is Philadelphia with Jabari Parker from Duke. Orlando will draft Andrew Wiggins from Kansas. That's really surprising, 2 Kansas players. Boston Celtics will look to draft Dante Exum from Australia. Utah Jazz will be looking at Julius Randle from Kentucky. The Lakers will be looking at Noah Vonleh from Indiana. The Kings will look at Marcus Smart from Oklahoma State. I guess that's the guy who, that big media controversy happened. He had to apologize and stuff because he, like, got a technical foul or whatever. Detroit will draft Gary Harris from Michigan State. Cleveland will be looking at Kyle Anderson from UCLA. And to round off the top 10, with another pick in the top 10, will be the Philadelphia 76ers drafting Doug McDermott from Creighton. So what's really surprising is, though, that a lot of ACC players wouldn't be drafted. I guess there's not that many ACC players entering the draft, which is surprising. There's more players in, like, the Big Ten than the SEC and the ACC, which is really strange. So let's look over it. Duke is in the ACC, Kansas, some guy from Australia. Kentucky is in the SEC, Indiana, Michigan State is in the Big Ten, UCLA, it's the Pac-12, I think. Yeah, but I think a lot of people like watching college basketball because it seems like in the NBA, there's no, like, heart, you know what I mean? Like, the kids in the, I shouldn't call them kids because I'm basically their age and older/younger, but I feel that with college basketball, it's more fun to watch and it's more fun to follow because you get to, like, look at all these astounding players that could possibly become, like, a legend. Like, I'm not comparing LeBron James or Michael Jordan to each other because I know that's, like, a really soft topic between people, but I think that it's more fun to watch them because they could possibly become one of those great players. I mean, I don't know. I just think that it's more fun to watch. And with the NBA, like, the whole thing with LeBron James and how, oh, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, blah, 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 like, and everybody was really pissed because, oh, you're just going where the money is, you just want to win a championship, you want to do this, you want to do that. And in reality, all these NBA players are only getting, they're only, like, they don't have to win a championship. Like, they always go to whichever team they're going to win a championship with. They're always going to go to the team, they're going to go to the team that pays them the most money. And, like, where's the integrity in that? You know what I mean? So it's not like playing for your all. It's more like playing for the money. Like, you're just playing for the money. I like college basketball a lot better, even though I don't really watch it. So in other news in sports, Michael Phelps will come out of retirement to compete in his first meet since 2012. That is huge news if you think about it, because he said, "Oh, I'm not gonna compete in London," and then he goes in and competes in London, and then he says, "Oh, I'm not gonna compete in Rio," but he goes and competes in Rio. So USA Today reports that Michael Phelps is expected to come out of retirement and compete in his first meet since 2012 Olympics next week. His coach confirmed to USA Today Sports. The move paves the way for the 22-time Olympic medalist to compete in the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, which would be Phelps' fifth game. USA Swimming announced Monday that it expects Phelps, along with other swimming stars such as Ryan Lochte, Katie Ledecky, to compete at the Arena Grand Prix in Mesa, Arizona from April 24th to April 26th. As of today, I definitely expect him to swim, Phelps' longtime coach Bob Bowman told USA Today Sports by phone Monday. We're looking forward to it. I think it'll be really great for the sport to have Michael compete again. We really don't have any expectations for what might happen. We just want to have some fun with it and see how it goes. Phelps is entered in the 100-meter butterfly and 100-meter freestyle events, Bowman says. Those are both on the first day, and he'll probably try both of those preliminaries in the morning. See how it goes, and maybe do the final if he gets to the finals. Bowman said the next day he's entered in the 50 free and will probably do a 50 butterfly, which we don't know yet. After this, we can decide what he wants to do next. Monday's news is not at all surprising, as Phelps has upped his training over the last year and began taking all the necessary steps to make a comeback to competitive swimming. Phelps has rejoined the U.S. Phelps had rejoined the U.S. anti-doping agency's drug testing pool last year and regained his eligibility for competition in March. It's historic. It's going to be a media spectacle, Mesa Aquatics Club CEO Paul Smith said. No other venue has the same feel and proximity and the action as ours. It's going to be thrilling regardless of what shape Phelps, is in. There's nothing about being at a pool level that is energizing. Bowman said he and Phelps decided to compete in Mesa a few months ago. This meet happens to be at the right time, Bowman says. He's eligible to swim in a meet, and he thought it might be fun to do one. We heard that this was a great meet. I don't think it was something we had targeted. It just came up at the right time. I'm sorry, I was laughing because it's so funny. The fact that he said that he had to rejoin the anti-doping agency over the whole thing about him getting caught smoking marijuana and all that stuff. But it just goes to show you, I guess, the whole thing, the logic behind marijuana. I wonder if that contributed to the legalization of it. Anyway, to continue with sports, the Yukon Huskies are the 2014 women's basketball champions. No, this is not a typo. Both the men's and women's basketball team have won the NCAA national title. The women's team finished out with a perfect season, beating rivals Notre Dame to end their perfect season. The Lady Huskies beat the Fighting Irish 79-58 in the final tournament round to claim the victory. Yukon controlled the entire tempo of the game, playing hardline defense. The game was already over by the first few minutes of the second half. The Huskies went from having an 8-point lead to a 15-point lead in less than 3 minutes. The Huskies are the only school in NCAA history to have both men and women's team win the national title. And not only have they done it this year, they've done it twice. It happened in 2004 as well. Congrats to both teams on the huge win. I wonder how crazy UConn got that whole weekend. Like, that's crazy. The fact it's difficult for a team to win a national championship. It's difficult for a school. Okay, so it's difficult for a school to win a national championship, but the fact that both teams make it to the NCAA championship and both teams win, like, the odds are not in your favor for them both to win, if you know what I mean. Like, that's just crazy. And the fact that they did it twice, like, you never really hear Connecticut, like UConn, being so such a prestigious program. Like, yes, it's a very prestigious school, it's a very prestigious basketball program, especially for women's and also men, but you never hear it as much as like you hear Duke or Kansas, Syracuse, Arizona recently, Florida, all those types of things. And it's crazy to think that they were the huge underdog throughout the whole tournament. They almost lost to University of Pittsburgh, Pitt, and they won on a buzzer beater. They almost lost to like all these other schools, and they weren't supposed to win. They were a complete underdog. Everybody thought that Kentucky was going to win, even though Kentucky was a lower seed than UConn was. Kentucky was an 8, UConn was a 7. And the fact that they came out and won, I'm talking about men's, I'm sorry. The fact that they came out and won is incredible, and it was a really good game to watch. The men's game was a lot closer than, obviously the men's game was a lot closer than the women's. I'll give you some insight onto the men's. The UConn Huskies are the 2014 NCAA men's basketball champions. The Huskies beat the Kentucky Wildcats 60-54 to grab the program's 4th national title since 1999. The underdog throughout the whole tournament, the Huskies climbed their way to the top with the help of star point guard Shabazz Napier, who had 22 points in the game. Coach Kevin Ollie says he has a lot to be thankful for. When all the circumstances you think they're going against you, God is going to shift the wind in your favor. This is the Huskies' 2nd championship in 3 years. They won it in 2011, and now they won it now. And the women's won it in 2004 for UConn, and now they won again. That's just super crazy. Congrats. And also, I already reported on this, but this is my version. Bubba Watson has done it again. Bubba Watson has won his 2nd Masters in less than 2 years. The only other golfer to do that is the great Arnold Palmer. Watson almost fell to newcomer Jordan Spieth. The 20-year-old American from Texas was out in front until some of his shots went into some bunkers and ponds. He tied for 2nd in his first ever Masters appearance. Like I said earlier, congrats to Bubba Watson. That's crazy that he can win the last 2 years. And that's really something difficult to do, you know what I mean? Like I don't really understand golf. Like you're basically not playing against any other people. Like in basketball, you're playing against other people. In baseball, you're playing against other people. Like your action, like your points are determined by how good or how bad the other team is playing. Like if the other team is playing bad defense, then your points determine, like it shows that almost, unless you're playing terrible offense. But in golf, no matter what you do, there's nothing that you can do to decrease or increase your opponent's points, which is frustrating to me. It's so frustrating. How could you even, like, how do you have the patience for that? You just have to play your own game. Like, you're just playing paddleball against a wall, and it's just really frustrating. My uncle was watching it yesterday, and I was watching it with him, but I don't get it. But we're going to take a quick musical break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and you can listen to some T-Pain featuring Chris Brown, Best Love Song Ever.
And everybody